Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. Your Village President Alex Torpey here. Today we're giving you a special inside peek into Village Hall. There's nothing in there, which is kind of exciting and interesting. And so I'm here with our Administrator Barry Lewis, Deputy Administrator Adam Loehner, our Engineer Sal Renda, and Trustee Clarke. And we're going to take a little walk through the building, give you a little tour. There's been a lot of work done so far to get the building ready to be renovated or ready to be sold. So we're going to give you a little tour today. So why don't you follow me in and we'll check it out. Alright, so we are in the lobby right now. As you can see behind me, there's not a whole lot left, although if you still need to come to the clerk's office to file some paperwork, you can do so here. This is the wall where the clerk's office was, and this is the lobby here. You can see all the different load-bearing columns where the brick is, and you can see some of the wood frames that are between. If you walk with me a little bit, we're going to go into the clerk's office, what used to be the clerk's office, and what's really cool about some of the architectural features that you can see here is that there's actually old brick archways where you can see some of where the original parts of the building were. The building had been built on and expanded over a number of years. The building was built in 1894, and they had the first meeting here in 1895 when the building actually housed the police and fire departments as well. So the use of the building has changed over the number of years, and you can see that through the different additions that we'll take you guys through a little bit. Alright, so we're now standing where our tax collector used to be, and what you can see, which is really interesting, is that you can see the original building, the brick behind me, and then you can see how it was built out to where we're standing now, and that the way the ceiling has been raised to actually accommodate the horses that used to be part of the fire department, you can almost see all the way up into the main meeting room, which we're going to go up to in a second. So we're in Sal Renda's old office here, the engineering office, and it's pretty interesting the way that these walls were constructed. These used to be holding cells. So tell us a little bit about this construction.
These walls here are very solid, thick concrete, basically to prevent anybody from breaking in or breaking out. And if you look around the sides of those walls there, that was added when I think the second edition was added, and these were created as jail cells. And you have the one remaining cell that was kept as basically a utility room in the building when this area was renovated is still here. You can see the steel walls and the bars are still on the windows.
So what was it like working in a prison cell?
It was great. My cell phone never worked. It was good, well,
that's a blessing and a curse.
Yes.
Alright, so this is actually the main staircase in Village Hall now. It doesn't look exactly like the one that used to be here. But if you follow me up, we're going to take a look at the main meeting room. So that's one aspect of the building. You can see how almost everything else has been completely torn down to the foundation and exposing the brick and exposing the load-bearing columns. But the one thing that we've kind of kept as immaculate as possible that we want to restore is the main meeting room. So let's go take a look at that. This may be a familiar view. I'm up on the dais here in our main meeting room. And this is one of the areas of the building that throughout the renovation we're trying to keep intact as much of the architectural features as possible. This is one of the most beautiful parts of the building, and everybody agreed that we should try and maintain and restore this as much as possible to the original beauty. So back here was the trustee chambers and meeting room. If I come around, we can take a look through the rest of the room. So back here is where the parking authority used to be. Throughout all these back rooms here, and this was our little IT booth where we filmed all the meetings from. Alright, so what's really cool next that I want to show everybody is that if you look over here, you can see how this section of the building where the finance and administration offices used to be, it's actually raised up a little bit. What's really interesting is that if you look up here, that actually used to be the roof of the building. So the building used to end at that point, and like we said before, how many additions have been built on, that's one of the areas that you can very clearly see where the definition, where the ending of the building was. So you can see the old roof there coming down, and on the first floor underneath us is the brick that used to be the wall that was actually the outside of Village Hall. So why don't we take a walk up to the old finance and administration offices. So we're going to take a walk up to where the finance and administration offices used to be, but a room that many of you might be familiar with. This was actually one of the conference rooms that we used to meet in. So you can take a look here. There's not too many meetings happening in here these days, but you can also see if you walk in a little bit, there's a really great shot of the roofs over here that used to actually be the outside of the building, and if you look up you can see what has been built on as the building's been expanded. So over here is where our IT office used to be, and if you follow me, we're going to walk into where finance was. Now where my office was, interestingly, used to actually be showers for the fire department when it was used for that purpose. I always like to joke that my office here was the highest office in the building, and now you can actually see that that is true. It may have been the smallest, but this is a very interesting layout here, and you can actually still see the tile and the plumbing work from when the fire department used to use this as a shower. So I'm here with Walter Clarke, our trustee who's in charge of Public Works and Infrastructure, and Sal Renda, our engineer. Walter's going to tell us a little bit about this really interesting and sort of unique structure that's here in where the finance office used to be.
Yes, in the finance office we do have two things. One, we have this A-frame structure, and two, curiously, poles in the middle of the room. These poles are here to support the floor because beneath us was used previously by the fire department, and they would bring horses and wagons in and out, so they could not have columns to support the span of this floor. So these are attached along the base, and they actually hold the floor up rather than supporting it from beneath.
All right, so Barry Lewis, our administrator here, is going to walk us into his old office. So where were you situated in here?
Yeah, and this wasn't all my office. I didn't get that big of an office. The village administrator's office was over here to the right with an interesting, what was an all cedar walled closet down the steps that I still don't really know what the purpose of that was, but you'll see where that little closet stepped down. And then to the left was the then assistant to the administrator's office, and this was basically the administrative area of the building.
All right, thank you for joining us on this video tour of Village Hall. Hopefully getting an inside peek behind the scenes of what the building looks like now is interesting. Not only is building new buildings and making sure we're making best use of all the space in our downtown important, but it's also restoring and making sure that our historical buildings match the beauty that they were originally intended for. So thanks again for tuning into this, and we'll definitely be updating you guys more as we continue with this project. Thanks again.